Okay, just take a look at the stuff on your desk right now. Your phone, that coffee mug, maybe even the pen you're holding. They seem so simple, right? But every single one of them has this hidden, super complex journey that crisscrosses the entire globe. So let's dive into this invisible network that, well, literally brings the world to your doorstep.
I just love this quote, a secret passport. It's such a brilliant way to think about it, isn't it? The plastic in your phone, it might be from Malaysia. The ink in that pen, maybe it's from Germany. And it was all assembled somewhere else entirely and delivered to you through this incredibly complex system we call global trade. You see, it's so much more than just buying and selling. Behind every single product, there's this dance of economics, logistics, law, and even diplomacy. So how does it all fit together? Who are the conductors of this global orchestra? That's exactly what we're going to unpack.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the fundamental why of trade. Then we'll meet the people who physically move all the goods. We'll look at the rules and the money that make it all possible, explore how trade becomes a tool of power, and finally, we'll take a peek at what the future holds for this whole system.
So let's start with layer one, the network itself. It's really easy to think of trade as just, containers on a ship, but it's actually the world's most ambitious, ongoing collaborative project, and it all runs on one simple but really powerful idea.
And that idea is comparative advantage. Look, the logic is pretty simple. No single country can be the best at producing everything. So you specialize in what you do most efficiently, and then you trade for the rest. It's why Chile, which is super rich in natural resources, exports copper, while the UK, a global financial hub, exports financial services. It's all about turning national differences into shared prosperity.
Okay, so we get why countries trade. But how do goods actually get from a factory in, say, Vietnam to a store in the UK? Well, that requires a special kind of expertise, orchestrated by the conductors of the global supply chain.
So let's meet the freight forwarder. Think of them as the master logistics conductors of global trade. And here's the key thing to understand. They don't own the assets, not the ships, the planes, or the trucks. Instead, their job is to coordinate everything. They book the space, they negotiate the rates, and they manage all the unpredictable chaos like port congestion or customs delays. They are the ultimate problem solvers.
And make no mistake, there is a huge difference between moving goods within a country and moving them across borders. A domestic forwarder, they're an expert in local routes, but a global forwarder is operating on a whole different level. The crucial dividing line is customs. The moment a product crosses a border, you enter this whole new world of declarations, tariffs, and compliance that international forwarders absolutely have to master.
Let's move to the next layer and see how this all builds. For all these goods to move smoothly, everyone involved needs to speak the same language. Now, this isn't a spoken language, it's a language of rules, paperwork, and a language of money, the currency that basically oils the entire machine.
So first, the rules. Every single international shipment is accompanied by a whole bundle of documents. And this isn't just bureaucracy for the sake of it. This paperwork is the legal and financial backbone of the entire transaction. It's what ensures the cargo is what it says it is, and maybe most critically, it's what ensures people get paid.
Now, while there can be tons of documents, these three are really the heart of it. The bill of lading, that's the contract. The commercial invoice tells customs officials what the goods are worth, which decides the taxes. And the packing list is exactly what it sounds like, a detailed inventory so they can check it. Get one tiny detail wrong on these, and your shipment can be stuck for weeks. Seriously. Now for the other side of that language, money. With hundreds of currencies in the world, what does global trade use as its default operating system? Well, for the last 75 years, the answer has been overwhelmingly singular.
An incredible 88%. Just let that sink in for a second. That is staggering dominance. It means that even when the US isn't directly involved in a sale, its currency most likely is. Why? Because it's incredibly liquid and stable, which just makes it the easiest and cheapest currency to do business in globally. But this has a fascinating side effect.
And this illustrates it perfectly. So let's say a French company buys lumber from Canada. The payment, which is in US dollars, doesn't just go directly from France to Canada. Oh no, it gets routed through what are called correspondent banks, which are essentially US banks that handle transactions for foreign banks. This means the payment technically touches US soil, giving the US legal jurisdiction. And that, well, that has huge implications.
Which brings us to our highest layer of abstraction. You see, this network isn't just about commerce. Because it's so essential to how the world works, it inevitably becomes a game board for geopolitics, where access to markets and money becomes an incredibly powerful strategic tool.
Nothing makes this clearer than the 2019 offer by the US to purchase Greenland. Now, it sounded bizarre to a lot of people at the time, but it was actually a cold, calculated move based on geography, resources, and military strategy. So why would one country want to buy another?
Well, there are three core reasons. Militarily, it provides a crucial foothold in the Arctic to monitor rivals like Russia. It's also a key location for a potential missile defense shield. And, maybe most importantly, beneath all that ice are some of the world's largest untapped reserves of critical minerals, the stuff that's essential for modern technology. Control the land, and you control the resources.
But power isn't just about controlling physical territory like Greenland. It's also about controlling the flow of money. Remember how we just talked about how all those dollar transactions have to touch US soil? Well, that gives the United States a unique and really powerful financial weapon.
And this is where that financial power becomes a major geopolitical tool. If the US wants to enforce sanctions on a country, it can simply instruct its banks to block any dollar transactions with that country. And since 88% of all trade uses the dollar, this is like cutting off a country's access to the global economic bloodstream. It is an incredibly powerful form of foreign policy, and it all comes back to the dollar's central role.
So this entire system, the logistics, the rules, the money, the politics, it's been pretty stable for decades. But right now, it's facing what you could call a perfect storm of transformative forces that are reshaping the entire network as we speak.
There are really three major forces at play. First, you've got digitization. Platforms now offer instant quotes and real-time tracking, making the whole process way faster and more transparent. Second is sustainability. This is no longer just some buzzword. Shippers are demanding carbon data, and that's pushing the entire industry toward greener logistics. And finally, there's regionalization. To build more resilient supply chains, a lot of companies are now moving production closer to their home markets.
So, from a simple pen on your desk all the way up to the high-stakes game of global power, this invisible network truly connects us all. But as technology rewires it, climate change challenges it, and political tensions test it, the big question remains: how will this network adapt? And can the system that defined the last half-century really hold together in the next?